today the opening ceremony of the first PAK Iran virtual B2B meetings. And I'm your host, Farhan Anis, for today. Mr. Ehsan Dawarnia will translate the activities that are going on. To start the ceremony, we will call upon Mr. Faisal Imran to do the recitation of the Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربما يود الذين كفروا لو كانوا مسلمين ذرهم يأكلوا ويتمتعوا ويلههم الأمل فسوف يعلمون وما أهلكنا من قرية إلا ولها كتاب معلوم ما تسبق من أمة أجلها وما يستعقلون صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah. Thank you, Mr. Faisal Imran, for that. Uh, Pakistan and Iran, two great Islamic countries who share borders and have a great trade potential to develop, which is already existing, and definitely a lot more can be done. Since because of COVID-19, we are facing problems in the traveling, so therefore we are doing a lot of things virtually. So this is one of those activities to develop the trade activities between Pakistan and Iran. We have, first of all, I'd like to name all our guests. We have the Honorable Chief Guest, Ambassador of Islamic Republic of Iran in Pakistan, His Excellency, Mr. Syed Muhammad Ali Husseini. Thank you for joining, sir. We have a guest of honor, His Excellency, Mr. Rahim Hayat Qureshi, Ambassador, Islamic Republic of Pakistan in Iran. We have guest of honor, Mr. Nasir Hayat Magusa, President of Federation of Pakistan Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Mr. Ruhullah Istri, Director of International Business Development, Vice Presidency for Science and Technology in Iran. The Consul General of Islamic Republic of Iran in Karachi, His Excellency, Mr. Ahmad Muhammadi. Mr. Syed Raza Syed Aghazadeh, General Director of Office of Trade Relations with Asia and Oceania. Thank you all of you for joining this opening ceremony. To start with, I'd like to invite our Honorable Chief Guest, His Excellency Mr. Syed Muhammad Ali Husseini, to present his speech, sir. I'd like to request the speakers, honorable speakers, to please speak sentence by sentence because we have translation also. Thank you.
دعوت میکنیم از جناب آقای محمد علی حسینی و محبت کنید جملات رو صحبتاتون رو جمله به جمله بیان بفرمایید.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. You have my voice?
Yes, sir. I have your voice.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. Esteemed scientists, scholars, directors of knowledge-based companies and economies, activists, and my dear brother, respected Ambassador of Islamic Republic of Pakistan to Tehran, Sayyid Rahim Hayat Qureshi, Assalamu alaikum.
عرض سلام دارم خدمت جناب آقای رحیم حیات سفیر پاکستان در ایران و ما در این جلسه در حضور دانشمندان هستیم و شرکت‌های دانش بنیان.
First of all, I would like to thank the esteemed officials of the Vice Presidency for Science and Technology of Iran and the Federation of Pakistan Chamber of Commerce and Industries for holding this important meeting, as well as my colleagues at our Consulate General in Karachi for their great efforts to convene this virtual meeting in a possible way.
خب عرض تشکر دارم خدمت معاونت ریاست جمهوری و فدراسیون و صنایع برای برگزاری این دوره و همچنین همکاران و کنسولگری ایران در پاکستان.
I am pleased to be among the intellectuals Its concern is to contribute to the growth and excellence of nations in terms of science and knowledge. So I am confident that the results and achievements of these meetings will be very fruitful for both Iran and Pakistan.
ام، من بسیار مطمئن هستم که موفقیت‌ها و دستاوردهای این نشست بسیار بهره‌وری بالایی خواهد داشت.
Due to the type and nature of this meeting, I would like to speak in two parts, including referring to the scientific and technological achievements of the Islamic Republic of Iran over the past 40 years and to mention the latest state of bilateral cooperation.
بنده در اینجا در دو بخش صحبت خواهم کرد. بحث علم و فناوری در 40 سال انقلاب اسلامی جمهوری اسلامی ایران و آخرین همکاری‌های دو جانبه.
We are on the eve of the glorious history of the Islamic Revolution of Iran in 1979. First of all, I consider it necessary to greet and pay tribute to the pure souls of all those who led this great movement with their efforts and endeavors, especially to the eminent personality of Imam Khomeini and all the martyrs of the Islamic Revolution.
Sorry, I don't have your voice clearly. Could you please repeat your sentence?
We are on the eve of the glorious victory of the Islamic Revolution of Iran in 1979. First of all, I consider it necessary to greet and pay tribute to the pure souls of all those who led this great movement with their efforts and endeavors, especially to the eminent personality of Imam Khomeini and all the martyrs of the Islamic Revolution.
بنده ضروری میدونم که اشاره کنم به پیروزی انقلاب اسلامی در سال 1979 و درود بفرستم بر روح پاک تمام افرادی که در این جنبش و انقلاب شرکت و تلاش نمودند، به ویژه روح پاک شخصیت حضرت آیت الله امام خمینی و سایر شهدا.
Undoubtedly, this revolution has had great achievements in various social, economic, and cultural fields, and mentioning all of them is beyond the scope of this meeting.
پیشرفت‌های اقتصادی و فرهنگی جمهوری اسلامی ایران بسیار فراتر از این هست که در این جلسه بگنجه و در مورد اون بشه صحبت کرد.
One of the most important achievements of this revolution is to attain scientific and technological growth and development, which has been acknowledged by the well-reputed scientific institutions of the world.
یکی از بزرگترین دستاوردهای علمی و فناوری در زمینه رشد و توسعه بوده که توسط مؤسسات علمی مشهور و بنام انجام شده است.
It is important to note that all these achievements have been attained in the shadow of oppressive sanctions, cowardly pressures, and international restrictions, and relying solely on the efforts of the youth and local professionals and indigenous capabilities.
این دستاوردهای مهم یادآوری این نکته بسیار مهمی که این دستاوردها در سایه تحریم‌ها و محدودیت‌های بین‌المللی به دست آمده است.
According to the results published by the reputable Scopus citation database, The number of scientific papers registered from the Islamic Republic of Iran in 1996 was 842, which in 2017 increased to 54,388, which shows a 64-fold increase.
طبق نتایج به دست آمده از پایگاه‌های داده یا دیتابیس‌ها از سال 1996 مقالات علمی بسیاری به چاپ رسیده است، از جمله 842 مقاله.
Which in 2017 increased to 54,388, which shows a 64-fold increase.
این عدد به 54388 مقاله افزایش پیدا کرد.
The data of the same scientific database shows that the Islamic Republic of Iran in the region of West Asia and the Islamic world ranks first in the production of scientific knowledge.
نتایج داده‌ها حاکی از این است که ایران در منطقه شرق آسیا و در دنیای اسلام در صدر چاپ مقالات علمی و دانش هست.
Nanotechnology, biochemistry, and biomolecules, aerospace, physics, mathematics, genetics and stem cells, and pharmaceutical are fields where the most progress during the recent years has been made.
از جمله فناوری‌های انجام شده در کشور ایران نانوتکنولوژی، بیوشیمی، فیزیک، ریاضی، داروسازی و غیره بوده است.
The task of all of us is to implement the results of these scientific achievements in a tangible way in the lives of nations and to help in commercializing them to create added value.
هدف ما اجرای نتایج این دستاوردها در سطح بین المللی هست.
In this regard, the neighbors of the Islamic Republic of Iran will have an important role.
در این مورد همسایگان ایران نقش بسیار مهمی رو ایفا می‌کنند.
This kind of view is taken from the principles of foreign policy of the Islamic Republic of Iran based on the importance of neighbors in Iran's foreign policy.
این اصول بر مبنای سیاست خارجه است و از اهمیت بسیار زیادی برخوردار هست برای همکاری با همسایگان ایران.
Given that Iran and Pakistan have a large number of young population and university graduates, bilateral cooperation in the field of science and academia can be a unique and special opportunity for both the countries.
ایران و پاکستان کشورهایی هستند که جمعیت بسیار زیادی دارند و همچنین فارغ التحصیلان دانشگاهی و این همکاری‌ها در زمینه علمی و آکادمیک انشاءالله برقرار خواهد شد، همکاری‌های دو جانبه.
I consider this event an appropriate occasion to identify these opportunities.
I'm terribly sorry. Could you please repeat your sentence?
I consider this event an appropriate occasion to identify these opportunities.
من این موقعیت رو یک فرصت مناسب می‌دونم برای شناسایی فرصت‌های مناسب دیگر.
The Islamic Republic of Iran and the Islamic Republic of Pakistan having cultural, ethnic, religious commonalities and having the best peaceful relations since long, as well as having vast economic capacities and potentials, can complement and meet each other's needs in various economic, commercial, and trade fields.
Could you please repeat your sentence once again?
The Islamic Republic of Iran and Islamic Republic of Pakistan, having cultural, ethnic, religious commonalities, and having the best peaceful relations since long, as well as having vast economic capacities and potentials, can complement and meet each other's needs in various economic, commercial, and trade fields.
جمهوری اسلامی ایران و جمهوری پاکستان اشتراکات مذهبی و قومیتی زیادی دارند و بهترین رابطه صلح‌آمیز رو داشتن. در زمینه اقتصادی نیز دارای ظرفیت‌های بسیار زیادی برای برگزاری جلسات دو جانبه هستند.
The principle of neighborhood, having a long common border, geopolitical features have made the two countries of Iran and Pakistan to inevitably have bilateral cooperation.
همسایگی این دو کشور و برادری مشترک این دو کشور از در زمینه ژئوپلیتیک باعث شده که همکاری‌های دو جانبه این دو کشور بتونن با همدیگه داشته باشن.
The Islamic Republic of Iran, according to the principles of its constitution, had and has no issue to promote political and economic relations with countries in the East and West. And this subject is more apparent and relevant for neighboring countries.
Sorry, your voice is breaking.
The Islamic Republic of Iran, according to the principles...
I don't have your...
Can you hear me now?
Sorry, I don't have your voice.
Now you can hear me.
Yes, sir, we can hear you clearly now. Mr. Hassan, can you hear me?
Now, yes, I can hear you. Yeah,
all right.
I think it was an internet failure.
Yes, please.
The Islamic Republic of Iran, according to the principles of its constitution, had and has no issue to promote political and economic relations with countries in the East and the West. And this subject is more apparent and relevant for neighboring countries.
جمهوری اسلامی ایران طبق قانون اساسی هیچ مشکلی برای برقراری رابطه با کشورهای غربی و شرقی در زمینه سیاسی و اقتصادی و همچنین با کشورهای همسایه ندارد.
The characteristics and advantages of both the countries in the economic field are other factors that connect the markets of the two countries.
Sorry, could you please repeat your sentence?
The characteristics and advantages of both the countries in the economic field are other factors that connect the markets of the two countries.
هم‌مرز بودن این دو کشور یکی دیگه از عوامل برای ارتباط بازار دو کشور ایران و پاکستان هست.
Which if properly perceived can be a factor for the further promotion of bilateral relations.
I don't have the voice clearly. It sometimes breaks and I miss some words.
Which if properly perceived can be a factor for the further promotion of bilateral relations.
این میتونه عاملی باشه برای ارتقا یا بهبود روابط دو جانبه بین دو کشور.
In view of the goal set by the high-ranking officials of the two countries to increase the volume of trade up to $5 billion.
مسئولین دو کشور در صدد افزایش حجم یا میزان تجارت به میزان 5 میلیارد دلار هستند.
To achieve this strategic target by both sides, redoubled efforts should be made.
برای رسیدن به این هدف باید تلاش‌های دوجانبه بسیاری انجام شود.
At the end, by underlining on the role of knowledge-based companies in enhancing of scientific and economic cooperation between the two countries,
در پایان تاکید می‌کنم بر نقش شرکت‌های دانش بنیان در افزایش بهبود مسائل علمی و اقتصادی در بین دو کشور.
I declare readiness of all the representative missions of the Islamic Republic of Iran in Pakistan to be at the service to achieve this important strategic objective.
Could you please repeat your sentence?
I declare readiness of all the representative missions of the Islamic Republic of Iran in Pakistan to be at the service to achieve this important strategic objective.
اعلام می‌کنم که تمامی نمایندگان جمهوری اسلامی ایران برای رسیدن به این هدف استراتژیک خدمت‌گزاری خواهند کرد.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
با سپاس از همگی بزرگواران.
Thank you, Honorable Ambassador of Islamic Republic of Iran in Pakistan, His Excellency, Mr. Syed Mohammad Ali Husseini. Now, I would request the Honorable Guest of Honor, His Excellency, Mr. Rahim Hayat Qureshi, who is the Ambassador of Islamic Republic of Pakistan in Iran, to please give his speech. Thank you, sir, please.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I am very grateful to the organizers of this conference for having arranged such an important webinar, which will go a long way in establishing even better relations between the Islamic Republic of Iran and Pakistan. I am indeed indebted to you, and I would like to especially thank the Honorable Ambassador of Iran to Pakistan, my dear friend, His Excellency Mr. Mohammad Ali Husseini, who I have known for a long time since I was in Rome and he was posted there as an ambassador. It is indeed...
به نام خدا سپاسگزارم از برگزار کنندگان این وبینار بسیار مهم پیرامون روابط بین کشورها و سپاس ویژه دارم از سفیر جمهوری اسلامی ایران جناب آقای حسینی.
I've known Mr. Husseini for a long time since he was posted in Rome, and his being posted here illustrates the importance that Iran attaches to its relations with Pakistan.
Could you please repeat your sentence, please?
Well, I said that Mr. Husseini I've known for a long time since his posting in Rome, and his posting here to Pakistan means that the importance that Iran attaches to Pakistan as a brotherly, fraternal country.
آشنایی با بنده با جناب آقای حسینی سفیر ایران در پاکستان به مدت زیادی بوده و میزبانی ایشون باعث خوشحالی و افتخار بنده است.
I would also like to to give my regards to the Consul General of Iran to Karachi, who I know is very active in promoting trade relations between our two countries.
Sorry, I didn't have your voice.
Mr. Essen, I believe that there is an internet connectivity issue at your end. So I'll request the ambassador, honorable ambassador, to please continue without the translation for now. So, thank you.
All right.
Okay, that's better. I think most of the people will understand.
Exactly.
Anyway, so beginning with thanking the organizers, His Excellency Mr. Muhammad Ali Hussaini, Consul General of Iran to Pakistan in Karachi, and the Commercial Counselor of Pakistan to Iran, Mr. Masood, who has also joined us. I'm very happy to be here. The main point I want to make in this webinar is that living here in Tehran, I would like to stress upon both Iranian businessmen and Pakistani businessmen of the importance as well as the tremendous opportunities that exist for trade relations between our two countries. There is a huge deal of scope that we can exploit and use for the mutual benefit and the prosperity of both countries and the people of the both sides. We are bound by a common bond, by a common culture, by a common understanding, a common religion, a common faith, a common culture, and a lot of other commonalities. If a Pakistani businessman goes, for example, to Poland or Russia or Korea, he will not have the same feeling that he will have when he comes to Iran, where he will find a sense of brotherhood, a sense of communality or purpose, and a sense of hospitality that he will not get anywhere else in the world. The same goes for our Iranian brothers when they go to Pakistan. I am deeply convinced that we, both the countries, need to have more people to people contacts, more understanding, more trade relations, better exchange of delegations in order to achieve the target that we have for each other. We have 910 kilometers roughly of common border, a border which is one of peace and friendship. Our trucks can go freely from one country to another. There is no reason why we cannot exploit our geographical congruity to have better and much higher trade relations than we do right now. I can tell this esteemed audience that I am under instructions from the government of Pakistan, especially the Prime Minister of Pakistan, that my main focus is on improving trade relations between our two countries. The government of Iran equally supports these measures. The government of Iran equally encourages Pakistani businessmen to come to Iran and try to see how we can better improve our relations. Iran and Pakistan are both countries which have huge commonalities. Iran has been blessed with petrochemicals and other minerals. They have a great knowledge base. So does Pakistan. We have we have many opportunities to collaborate in textiles, in dairies, you name it, and the opportunities are there. We have, for our part, in the embassy, with the help of my dear friend, Mr. Muhammad Ali Hussaini, the esteemed ambassador of Iran to Pakistan, and my colleagues over here in Iran, we have opened a new border. The first time in the history of Pakistan that we have opened a new border crossing between Pakistan and Iran. This is Gabd and Reemdan. Gabd and Reemdan, the new border point, is halfway between Chabahar and Gwadar. Both these ports are sister ports. We can exploit and use these commonalities to further our trade. I would encourage our businessmen to understand and to see how much benefit just this border point opening can give them by just reducing the distance and the transportation cost which will occur to them if, for example, goods come from Karachi and they want to go to Iran. Similarly, from Chabahar, it's equally easy to go to Karachi and other parts of Pakistan through this border point. So what I'm trying to say is that both the governments of both Iran and Pakistan are working very hard to facilitate trade between Pakistan and Iran, and the ease of doing business is something that both the governments are working upon. I understand there are issues. There are the issues of banking channels or things like that, but these are these sanctions for our part, Pakistan, we think that they are unjust and unfair. We feel, as the Prime Minister has stated many times, that these sanctions, which have been imposed wrongfully, should be lifted immediately for the benefit of not only Iran, the people of Iran, but also the region. I can assure my Pakistani friends and colleagues that the knowledge base and the systematic um, improvements that have been occurring in Iran for a long time means that this is an economy which is going to be a 1 trillion, $2 trillion economy at the earliest. This is Iran is ready to take off, and Pakistani businessmen and Irani businessmen to Pakistan should be ready to take advantage of the huge potential that exists between our two countries. There is no other reason, there is no other reason why we should not be having the kind of trade relations that my esteemed colleague, Mr. Hussaini, has mentioned in his speech. Of course, we can do better. There is but the governments are cognizant of this fact. We are going to have very soon a joint economic commission meeting between Pakistan and Iran, a joint trade commission meeting headed by our Minister for Commerce and by the Minister for Roads and Transport in Iran, as well as the Minister for Commerce in Iran, where whatever differences there are, whatever issues there are, that we are going to try to resolve at the earliest. The governments of both sides are convinced that we need to facilitate our businessmen in whatever we can do in order to ensure that goods, trade, services flow freely between our two countries. At the same time, after the Joint Economic Commission, after the Joint Trade Commission, we are also working on a free trade agreement. 4 sessions have already been held. Inshallah, soon a 5th session will also be held. The idea here is that Pakistan and Iran, inshallah, soon, with the support of the leadership of both sides, will try to have a free trade agreement so that our businessmen do not face any issues while trading with each other. Equally important, as a first step, is something that our Prime Minister is very keen on, is the issue of border markets. We plan to have, we have given an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, to our Iranian brothers to sign an MOU on having border markets, at least 6 border markets along the entire border of Pakistan and Iran, so that the people of both areas can trade freely and can have goods and services exchanged without any issues. You will know that on both sides of Iran and Pakistan border, people depend upon each other. Sometimes people from one area are dependent upon water, oil, fuel, foodstuffs from one region, from one country to the other. We want to remove those differences, and we want to ensure that people of both sides live in prosperity and ease, relative ease with these border markets. Another thing we want to do, and we are absolutely sure about, is that because of sometimes these sanctions and absence of banking channels, we need to resolve these issues. One way to resolve these issues is through a barter mechanism. We hope very much, and I'm sure that these unjust sanctions should be lifted soon, and they will be lifted very soon. But till such time that they are lifted, we need to devise some mechanism so that our trade flows freely. One way is through a barter mechanism. I encourage the businessmen of both sides, Pakistan and Iran, to take advantage of the political will that exists on both sides, Pakistan and Iran, to ensure that if there are some issues with banking channels, we can utilize barter mechanisms. For us in Pakistani embassy in Iran, and I'm sure the Iranian embassy in Islamabad, we are both ready to facilitate any businessman who needs any help in this regard. We have an MOU, we have a system between the Zaidan chamber and the Quetta chamber to ensure that a barter system takes place effectively and clearly. But we need to do more. That's not enough. There's more that can be done and more will be done, inshallah, with the help of the businessmen of both sides. We are remain open for any suggestions. As far as Pakistan and Iran trade relations go, sky is the limit. Iran has been blessed by cheap energy, cheap electricity, oil, petroleum, so many natural resources. We too have our resources. There is no reason why we cannot establish, for example, a joint industrial zone on the border between Iran and Pakistan. 1,000 acres here, 1,000 acres on the Iranian side. We can have a common industrial zone where electricity and other energy can be provided by Iran. We can provide manpower, we can provide investment. There are many things that both sides can do. This is something that both governments are willing and keen to do, and which we encourage our businessmen to come up and support both the governments in trying to implement the vision of a free trade zone between our two countries. We are, of course, a country which is in need of energy. We have an agreement with Iran on the Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline. There is no reason why this pipeline cannot start at the earliest. We are just awaiting, we are trying to finalize, we are trying to see that these difficulties, some difficulties that are there should be removed, and we should move forward on those issues. So Iran being an um, energy plus country, an energy positive country, can supply us with the energy that we need. At the same time, Pakistan can also provide many opportunities, many things to Iran that they might need. So I would suggest that our business community take part in all the important webinars and expos that are take place in our respective countries. I believe that we are having the first virtual Texpo, the textile promotion seminar, a virtual one, very soon. We hope very much that the Iranian businessmen can participate. It's going to be a virtual one. We understand that there are difficulties with COVID and everything because of traveling, because of the air links difficulties, this and the other. But this seminar is going to be a virtual one. And I hope very much that our Iranian brothers, with the help and support of the Iranian government, will participate in the Texpo that is being planned very soon. For more information, our commercial counselor, Mr. Masood, is available for any help and assistance that our Iranian side might require. At the end, I would just like to conclude by reiterating one more time that the political will on both sides, Pakistan and Iran, exists for healthy and strong commercial, financial, investment and trade ties. Please reach out to the Embassy of Pakistan in Iran and the Embassy of Iran in Pakistan for any help that you require. I would like to conclude by thanking the organizers of this webinar, which will go a long way in assisting and facilitating trade between our two countries. I would like to once again acknowledge the work of my brother, Mr. Muhammad Ali Hussaini, in Pakistan, as well as the Consul General of Iran in Karachi for the tremendous work that they are doing. I thank them and I wish them all success. And I would like to just suggest that we on the other side over here are equally ready to assist in any way we can to facilitate trade and commercial relations between our two countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency, Mr. Rahim Ayat Qureshi Saab, Ambassador of Islamic Republic of Pakistan in Iran. As you rightly said, sir, that sky is the limit between trade relations of Iran and Pakistan. And we have our next speaker who is rightly suited for the next speech. He's the guest of honor, Mr. Nasir Hayat Maggu, President of Federation of Pakistan Chamber of Commerce and Industry, who can really push the businessmen to participate from both ends in this virtual meetings and future ones to come. Sir, Mr. Nasir Hayat Maggu, please.
Assalamu alaikum. His Excellency Mr. Sayyid Muhammad Ali Hussaini, Ambassador Islamic Republic of Iran in Pakistan. His Excellency Mr. Rahim Hayat Qureshi, Ambassador Islamic Republic of Pakistan in Iran. His Excellency Mr. Muhammadi, Consul General of Islamic Republic of Iran in Karachi. Mr. Ruhollah Istri, Director of International Business Development, Vice President for Science and Technology in Iran. Thank you for inviting me for this virtual meeting. It's my pleasure to speak on this subject. Pakistan and Iran are very, very close and brotherly countries. I have been going to Iran from 1986, and I've been doing business from 1986 to 2010 or 12 after till the sanctions took place. The problem is only the bank mechanism, because in Pakistan we have an output system in sales tax. So this is a big problem for our people to trade with Iran. I can safely say that people of Pakistan and people of Iran are very, very close. I've been there 200 times or 100 times, I don't remember. And I have been doing business with many, many Iranian companies. So I like people, I like food, I like, everything, the culture, everything is same. As mentioned by our ambassador, that everything is in place. The only problem is the international sanctions, which is hurting both the countries. We have to find some way that how we can overcome this problem. I can assure you that the people who are still doing some trade with Iran, they know each and every product produced by Iran. They know the quality, they know the competitiveness. So likewise, we have many products which we can also send to Iran. We have air, sea, road, rail, all kind of links. Still, despite of that, we are not able to grow our business, and our business volume is only like 500 to 600 million dollars, which does not reflect the true picture of the trade. We are the members of ECO, we are the members of SCO, we are also have a PTA, trade professional agreements. But the problem only I see is the mode of banking mode. If this is solved, the alternate we have, as mentioned by our Excellency, our ambassador, is barter trade. So I will urge my government, and I will advocate for finding some resolution to this problem, because until this problem is not solved, both the countries cannot take advantage of the real real opportunity which both countries have, and it can prosper both the countries very well. As you know well, all the trade blocks, economic blocks, EU, NAFTA or ASEAN, it is developed to take advantage of each other. EU's 85% trade is within EU. So you can imagine how big potential we have in this regard. But we are unable to take advantage because of the problems I mentioned before. The idea of border markets, idea of zones on the border is very good. At least we can find more grounds to talk to each other, because when the sanctions have come and we are not able to trade, the connection between people to people are lost. For example, I was doing business with somebody that 5 or 7 years ago. Now the trade, because of sanctions, have stopped. So I'm unable. I tried for 1 year, 2 years, then I lost hope, and then I got disconnected. Even though we are saying hello and hi hello on the occasion, but the day-to-day talk does not take place. So this is a good idea to exchange delegations, to have more meetings, to have border markets, to have border meetings at the border. I fully endorse this idea, and this can bring the connection back, and we will push our government also to find some alternative ways so that this connection remains there, and our both the countries can take advantage of the of the potential which we have. I once again thank you very much for inviting me, and glad to participate in the first Iran virtual B2B meeting, and I hope it will be instrumental for the business and for both the countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nasir Ayat Magusa, President of Federation of Pakistan Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Definitely, your role will be influential, sir, in pushing the Pakistani business community to participate in these virtual B2B meetings, and hopefully for future better trade relations. Now, I would like to invite our guest of honor, Mr. Ruhullah Istri, who is the Director of International Business Development, Vice Presidency for Science and Technology in Iran.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies. This is Masoud Hafizi, Deputy Director of International Business Development of Vice Presidency for Science and Technology. I have a speech on behalf of my Director, Ruhullah Istiri, for you. I would like to acknowledge my appreciation and gratitude to the Honorable Ambassadors of Iran and Pakistan, enterprises and organizer of the meeting. As you know, Iran and Pakistan have significant political, cultural, structural, and economic ties over the past decades. Pakistan and Iran are among populated, fast-growing economies in Asia, which make both countries very suitable for business and technology cooperation with each other. Unfortunately, during last year, the COVID-19 pandemic was the major problem for us. Its serious damage have affected all sectors of business, health, education, and public welfare in all countries, especially vulnerable groups. It is important to think about solutions to prevent and control these disasters with business promotion activities via technological approaches, which this online business forum would be one of those tools. Under the circumstances, we need to share our experiences, expertise, and technological solutions for forming effective collective actions. The Islamic Republic of Iran, as a leading country in science, technology, and innovation in the Islamic world, has had many success combating COVID-19. Vice Presidency of Science and Technology of Iran is ready to participate effectively in bilateral scientific and technological cooperation related to the business of knowledge-based companies. In recent years, we have witnessed significant growth in technology and innovation areas in our country. Iran's global rank in science production has risen from 34th to 16th and the first in the region. The number of university students in Iran has increased from 2.4 million to 4.8 million, which puts Iran among the top 5 countries in terms of the number of graduate engineers. Iran's ranking in the global innovation index has also increased by 55 places over the past 5 years. And we have had an increasing growth in development of advanced technologies such as nanotechnology, biotechnology, renewable energies, cognitive science, stem cells, and ICT. Also, as a result of the implementation of knowledge-based economy development policies in Iran, the size of the knowledge-based economy in Iran has grown to over 11 billion US dollars. Through the activity of 5,500 knowledge-based companies and more than 1,040 creative and innovative ones. Friends, we all know about global cooperation is now much more important for us because we are investing in technology and innovation to keep sustainable and competitive growth. To earn this aim, the Islamic Republic of Iran, by relying on their capabilities, is trying to develop constructive and dynamic relations and cooperation globally. Hopefully, Pakistan is among the priorities of Iran's bilateral cooperation. Undoubtedly, the role of the government in each country is to pave the way for basic required platforms for international interaction of the private sectors, something which has been done in this forum. I have a presentation to show you the structure of Vice Presidency for Science and Technology of Iran, which I think that it can help you to more understand about the Vice Presidency for Science. I will share my screen. I hope that you can see it. Actually, the Vice Presidency for Science and Technology of Iran is under the direct supervision of the President of Iran. And the international affairs of the Vice Presidency for Science and Technology is conducted by the Center of Information, a Center of International Science and Technology Cooperation, which is the CISTEC. We are connected with lots of knowledge-based companies in Iran, which, as I told to you, the number of them are more than 5,500 companies, some accelerators that are have lots of activity in Iran supporting the startups. The Vice Presidency for Science and Technology Iran started its activity from 2007 up to now. It's a very big organization in Iran that promote and support the knowledge-based activity and business. The major activity that we have in the CISTEC comprised from the are related to the business, technology, human resources, and policy making, which we have international business development that support knowledge for international activities, and also to develop through joint business activities. And also we have that we promote the technology and develop the technologies that both countries need. And also scientific relations and human capital office that collaborate with Iranians abroad of Iran to try to return of elites to the country to develop some new technologies in Iran. Also, we have that they have some research and policy making activity that review the missions and activities of the centers, and use of some statistics, they develop new approaches for our development. If you want to know what we do actually in CISTEC, you know, related to the laws, empowerment of them, promotion, supplying the information, and networking. For example, when we see that we need some laws for the activity of knowledge base. We propose the bills to the Parliament of Iran to help knowledge-based companies. And also we support all companies and also their partners in other countries, for example, like Pakistan, for international business educations, for the professional export consulting, and also help prepare marketing items that they need. And another one is the promotion that we support participation in international exhibitions, B2B seminars, webinars, meetings like this forum that we are in it today. And another important things that we support knowledge-based companies are the information supply for them. For example, they need market research, marketing research, advertisement, and digital marketing activity in the target market. So we support them and their partners. And also networking is another important activity that we have. For example, for the export management companies, we support them. It doesn't differ that from which country, are from Iran or Pakistan, Iraq, other countries. We support all of them for bilateral cooperation and business development. And we support the business agents abroad of Iran. If you can, for example, as a trader, be an agent of Iran in Pakistan to promote Iranian products, and also you can provide lots of Pakistani products to Iran as our agents. We support all of the people that are interested to have joint activity with us in this regard. And you should know the diversity of knowledge-based companies in Iran, which I think that would be useful for you. The most groups of knowledge-based companies of Iran are in the field of information technology, which comprise more than 25% of the number of companies, and also for high-tech equipment, which comprise more than 22% of the companies that we are in Iran. And also we have very good infrastructure and capabilities in electronic devices like biotech related to the polymer products and also nanotech products. As I told to you, we have more than $1 billion export from these kinds of products. We are very powerful in IT and software, high-tech equipment, electronic and ICT, and advanced materials, especially the nanotech products that are very, very innovative in Iran. As one of the gentlemen told, we have lots of advantages in this country, and we have some idea for joint collaboration with the Pakistan, which is related to education, training, consulting, and making the bilateral use of companies for the supply chain, partner platforms. We need to bilateral education platform for consulting of business, workshops for business information, marketing information consultancy, and bilateral online shop countries. And you need actually the platforms to access bilateral business, which is very important because I think that the Pakistan business needs to, and also the Iranian businesses need to more value added products through rebranding of their products in. We think that the joint technology parks as a platform for the supply chain are important to strengthen and develop the business of both countries. And we can have joint hub for exporting to Africa and ASEAN countries, and through this we can develop the economy of both countries. It was a short presentation of the Vice Presidency for Science and Technology. You can find more information through connecting us with calling, website, and also WhatsApp connection. We will reply to you very soon about your questions. Thank you so much for attention to the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the knowledgeable presentation. And we admire Iran in the development of science and technology, especially even after the sanctions. Now, we'd like to invite upon our guest of honor, His Excellency Mr. Ahmad Mohammadi, Consul General of Islamic Republic of Iran in Karachi, who has played a very pivotal role in organizing this whole webinar. Sir.
Thank you. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. His Excellency Dr. Hosseini, the Honorable Ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Iran in Tehran. His Excellency Mr. Rahim Hayat Qureshi, the Honorable Ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Pakistan in Tehran. Mr. Nasser Hayat Magu, the Honorable President of the Federation of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Pakistan. Mr. Estiri, the Honorable Director from the Vice Presidency of Iran. All of the esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. I am requested to present my speech in Farsi, and if the Mr. Translator is ready, I start in Farsi my lecture. Is there Mr. Translator?
Mr. Essen, are you there?
Oh, yes. Can you hear my voice?
Yes. Thank you.
All right then.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. در ابتدا مایلم فرارسیدن 42مین سالگرد پیروزی انقلاب اسلامی را به همه دوستان و عزیزان تبریک عرض نموده و به روح پاک و مطهر حضرت امام خمینی و همه شهیدان انقلاب اسلامی درود بفرستم.
At first, I would like to say my congratulations on the 42nd victory of the Islamic Republic of Iran and send my regards to the sincere soul of Mr. Hazrat Ayatollah Khomeini.
بسیار مفتخرم که امروز پس از نزدیک به 4 ماه پیگیری و هماهنگی میزبان افتتاحیه اولین دور مذاکرات تجاری آنلاین بین شرکت‌های ایرانی و پاکستانی هستم.
I'm really honored that after 4 months I am hosting an online economic and scientific meeting between Iran and Pakistan.
در ابتدا لازم می‌دانم از معاونت علمی ریاست جمهوری ایران بابت حمایت خود از شرکت‌های دانش بنیان ایرانی به خصوص کمک به آنها برای صادرات محصولات و فناوری‌هایشان تشکر کنم.
At first, I would like to thank the Vice Presidency of the Science and Information for helping NGOs for exporting products.
همچنین از شرکت‌های ای-کامرس گیتوی از پاکستان و توسعه رویدادهای نمایشگاهی و تجاری از ایران بابت همکاری نزدیک با این سرکنسولگری برای برنامه‌ریزی و هماهنگی مذاکرات تشکر می‌کنم.
Also, I would like to thank the e-commerce company in Iran for holding events between Iran and the Consulate General of Iran.
اولین دوره مذاکرات تجاری آنلاین بین شرکت‌های ایرانی و پاکستانی در حالی آغاز می‌شود که خوشبختانه روابط بین دو کشور در ابعاد مختلف به ویژه در زمینه اقتصادی در شرایط مطلوبی است و با تراش دولت‌های دو طرف در حال ارتقا می‌باشد.
At first, I'd like to say that online business meetings and courses will improve the relations between these two countries in the field of economy with the help of both governments.
افتتاح گذرگاه مرزی ریمدانگبد که ارتباط بین بنادر چابهار ایران و گوادر و کراچی در پاکستان رو تسهیل کرده، برنامه ریزی برای افتتاح گذرگاه‌های مرزی دیگر و افزایش تعداد بازارچه‌های مرزی نمونه‌ای از این تلاش است.
محبت بفرمایید جملتون رو تکرار بفرمایید.
بله. افتتاح گذرگاه مرزی ریمدان گپ که ارتباط بین بنادر چابهار ایران و بنادر پاکستان را تسهیل می کند. این رو بفرمایید.
Opening the ports of Chabahar and Dongap in Karachi.
Rimdan and Gap. Rimdan Gap border.
Rimdan Gap borders in Karachi. And border on the port of Chabahar.
برنامه ریزی برای افتتاح گذرگاه‌های مرزی دیگر از نمونه تلاش هست.
Planning for other border gateways are among our efforts.
بیشک اولین دوره مذاکرات تجاری آنلاین نقطه عطفی در روابط بازرگانی بین ایران و پاکستان است.
Undoubtedly, the first online business relations will be a very good ties between the two countries.
در این مذاکرات بیش از 30 شرکت دانش بنیان ایرانی در زمینه‌های مختلف و بیش از 100 شرکت پاکستانی حضور دارند.
In these negotiations, more than 30 NGOs and more than 100 Pakistani companies are attending.
این دوره از مذاکرات تجاری ویژگی مهم دیگری هم دارد و آن تمرکز بر شرکت‌های دانش بنیان از دو کشور است.
These courses feature something really important, and that's focus on NGOs in both countries.
علیرغم پیشرفت‌های علمی ایران و پاکستان در سالهای اخیر، متاسفانه تجارت بین دو کشور بیشتر بر اقلام سنتی و مصرفی بوده است.
Despite scientific achievements in both countries, could you please جمله دوم تو محبت کنید تکرار بفرمایید.
علیرغم پیشرفت‌های علمی ایران و پاکستان در سالهای اخیر، متاسفانه تجارت بین دو کشور بیشتر بر اقلام سنتی و مصرفی بوده است.
Despite scientific achievements in both countries, the commercial achievements have been mostly traditional.
و مصرفی. در حالی که هر دو کشور محصولات و خدمات با فناوری بالایی تولید می‌کنند که بسیاری از آنها را می‌توانند به یکدیگر صادر نمایند.
This is why both countries produce a lot of various services and products.
تا از این طریق هم حجم تجارت بین دو کشور افزایش یابد و هم به رشد بیشتر علم و فناوری در دو کشور کمک شود.
So this way the volume of business can be increased and it can be contributed to the science of the country.
سرکنسولگری جمهوری اسلامی ایران در کراچی، شهری که به عنوان مرکز اقتصادی و بازرگانی پاکستان شناخته می شود،
the Consulate General of Iran, the city which is considered as the main city in these relations,
همواره تلاش کرده تا زمینه‌ساز افزایش آشنایی جوامع تجاری، شرکت‌ها و تجار دو کشور باشد.
Has always made an effort to relate the two countries and the companies in these two countries.
در این راستا می‌توانم به برگزاری کریدورهای جمهوری اسلامی ایران در نمایشگاه‌های مختلف در کراچی،
in this regard, I want to refer to the corridors of Iran and Karachi.
سفر هیئت‌های تجاری ایران،
traveling of Iran's groups to Pakistan.
و روابط بین ده‌ها شرکت دو کشور در زمینه‌های مختلف اشاره کنم.
And the relations between more than 10 companies in both countries.
متاسفانه با شروع کرونا و آغاز محدودیت‌های ناشی از آن، تعاملات تجاری بین دو کشور صدمه دید و باعث توقف بسیاری از برنامه‌های این سرکنسولگری شد.
Unfortunately, COVID-19 and the spread of COVID-19 and the restrictions affected business interactions negatively and spoils many plans.
پس از آن این جانب و همکارانم سعی کردیم مسیرهای جدیدی را برای تعامل شرکت‌ها و تجار دو کشور با یکدیگر بیابیم که برگزاری وبینارها و جلسات آنلاین مهمترین این مسیرها بود.
This way, then afterwards we decided to find new ways with regards to economy and business, and webinars are good choices for this goal.
خوشبختانه با تلاش جمعی توانستیم وبینار مشترک اتاق بازرگانی تهران و اتاق بازرگانی کراچی را برگزار نماییم.
Fortunately, we managed to hold the webinars on behalf of the Chamber of Iran and the Chamber of Pakistan.
و در کنار آن چندین جلسه تجاری آنلاین را بین شرکت‌های دو کشور برگزار کردیم.
And we held several online business meetings between the two countries.
و موفق شدیم مقدمات دور اول مذاکرات تجاری بین شرکت‌های دانش بنیان دو کشور را هم برنامه‌ریزی کنیم.
And we managed to plan the basics of economy between the two countries.
از این رو امیدوارم توانسته باشیم گامی بلند و مؤثر در جهت ارتقاء روابط تجاری و نیز همکاری‌های علمی و فناوری بین دو کشور برداشته باشیم.
We hope that we have been able to take good steps in improving the relations between the two countries, which is actually business relations, especially in the field of science and technology.
در پایان از حضور و سخنرانی جناب آقای حسینی سفیر محترم جمهوری اسلامی ایران در اسلام آباد.
At the end, I want to refer to Mr. Hosseini, the ambassador of Iran in Pakistan.
جناب آقای رحیم حیات قریشی سفیر محترم جمهوری اسلامی پاکستان در تهران.
Mr. Rahim Qureshi, the ambassador of Pakistan in Iran.
جناب آقای مگو رئیس محترم فدراسیون اتاق‌های بازرگانی و صنایع پاکستان.
Mr. Magu, the vice presidency of the Chamber of Pakistan in Iran.
President of Chamber of Federation of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Pakistan, Mr. Magu. و مقامات دیگری که در این وبینار حضور داشتن تشکر کنم.
And I'd like to thank all of them and as well as the authorities and officials in this meeting.
از ایشان تقاضا می‌کنم همانطور که با حضور خود در افتتاحیه این دوره از مذاکرات علاقه‌مندی و حمایت خود را به نمایش گذاشتند.
I request him that for the interest and for his interest and support.
با ادامه پشتیبانی از روابط شرکت‌های دانش بنیان دو کشور با یکدیگر به تقویت همکاری‌های علمی و فناوری ایران و پاکستان کمک نمایند.
I request him to help with the improvement of technological and scientific relations between the two countries.
این جانب و همکارانم در سرکنسولگری جمهوری اسلامی ایران در کراچی مانند همیشه آماده همکاری کامل با شرکت‌های دو کشور هستیم.
The Consulate General of Iran and I are ready to do everything in the Consulate of for the Consulate of Pakistan.
دوستی ایران و پاکستان پاینده باد.
Well, I hope the friendship between Iran and Pakistan will be eternal.
Thanks so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Consul General, His Excellency Mr. Ahmed Mohammadi, Consul General of Islamic Republic of Iran in Karachi. You definitely have stood by your word, sir, in supporting by all means these meetings and even in the past when the exhibitions used to be held. Now, as you know, these meetings are being organized by two companies, E-Commerce Gateway Pakistan and Trade Event Promotion in Iran. I would like to request a 2-minute vote of thanks by the President of E-Commerce Gateway, Dr. Khurshid Nizam.
Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Dr. Nizam. After hearing all those speeches from His Excellencies and Consul Generals and the Federation President, my humble suggestion is as follows. You know, e-commerce gateway is a 37-year-old company having qualified database of Pakistan. We are working a new strategy that is called O2E strategy. Because of this coronavirus, O means online B2B meetings, online virtual B2B meetings, and E means offline exhibition. Of course, during coronavirus, we will do this online activity we are doing from the world, especially focusing Iran, China, Turkey, Malaysia, South Korea, and different other countries. But our first focus is, of course, the nearest one, that is the Iran. Iran has all kind of technological advancement in the kind of machinery and technology. Pakistan has lot of raw materials which is very cheap. And I think if both can do the joint venture, and from Pakistan, Iranian can invest in the form of machineries, and Pakistan has the raw material and low cost workers. So the things can be produced in a very low cost activity, and this could be exported to the world, and it will be a win-win for both Pakistan and Iran. So for this, we have a channel partners in Iran, around 10 companies who are doing marketing in Iran to convince the people to work for this activity. This is the first activity we have started with the Iran. And the Consul General in Karachi, the Iranian Consul General, is very, very supportive. He also organized with us together. We have organized the solo Iranian exhibition when there was no COVID a few years back. And I think this regular activity we can do, and the people should know who are the people who are active in international business in Iran, and we know who are the active people who are working in Pakistan. So our role is just to make the B2B meeting through online plus exhibition. In this way, the business will increase in both the country. I really wanted to thank all the ambassador and consul general and the Federation President of Pakistan. Thank you.
Now, I would like to request Mr. Saeed Degani of Trade Promotion Event from Iran, who is doing these meetings from Iran. Yes, Mr. Saeed.
Yes. Shortly, I just wanted to thank all the officials and all the organizations who have assisted for organizing such event. Actually, we have worked for about 4 months, and we efforted to represent knowledge-based Iranian companies and link them to all the businessmen and traders to Pakistan. And now, today, from tomorrow, the meetings will be started. Actually, about 300 meetings will be organized. And I just wanted to thank all the officials, all the organizations who have helped us really, and hope to have the sufficient efficiency in organizing such event. Thank you all, and I will welcome all the knowledge-based companies from Iran and all the companies from Pakistan for joining us in these meetings. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Saeed, and thank you all for joining in for this inauguration ceremony of the first PAK Iran virtual B2B meeting. And then we thank the Honorable Excellencies and the private sector, Mr. Nasser from the FPCCI and the Vice Presidency for joining all of us and encouraging to start these meetings. And hopefully these will continue on till we have the Corona crisis. And in future, hopefully the exhibitions will start and one-on-one face-to-face meetings can restart again. Thank you very much, everyone. Allah Hafiz. Uh, I'm sorry, we have one more speaker here who's from the General Director of Office of Trade Relations with Asia and Oceania, Mr. Syed Raza Syed Aghazadeh. Can we connect him, please? Yeah, he's here. All right.
Hello, do you have my here?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. I would like to say hello to everyone, Excellencies, distinguished guests, our ambassador from Islamabad, and His Excellency Ambassador of the Pakistan, and friends from Karachi, and other participants. Indeed, both sides emphasized the importance of relations between Pakistan and Iran, very friendly and very long time relations, politically, economically, culturally. And I don't want to then repeat them. Just I would like to refer to our organization corporations with Pakistan. As you know, Iran Trade Promotion Organization is responsible for expansion of trade, bilateral trade with foreign countries, especially with the friendly countries and especially with the brother country, Pakistan. We are responsible for joint trade committee, which we are going to have the 9th joint trade committee. Already we have then collect from other Iranian organizations, departments, their suggestions, what they want to be discussed in this joint trade committee. And we are going to send to our embassy in Islamabad to be shared with the Pakistani side. And of course, science and technology can be an important part of this let's say, document that will be signed between the ministers of industry and mine and the trade of Iran and Mr. Abdulrazak Dawood as the head of the Pakistani delegation and responsible for trade, industrial investment, and very wide area of the activities in Pakistan. Then here I would like to request my friends from Iranian side to provide us what they want to be discussed in the 9th Joint Trade Committee. And I would like also to ask our embassy in Pakistan that indeed we have introduced our contact point for this issue. Then we are expecting the Pakistani side introduce their contact person that we can speed up our activities to have this 9th joint committee as soon as possible. In this committee, different issues are under discussion that, as you know, our IDRO in under Ministry of Industry, Mine and Trade is a very strong group, and this IDRO is responsible for the new areas in industry, such as the scientific issues, that new methods of the production, and also they have the intention to cooperate with the Pakistan side. I can say that there are many different areas, strong capacity for expansion of cooperation between Iran and Pakistan. But we need more discussions, more contacts, such as this webinar, which is very useful to share, to help two sides share their ideas about cooperation and find a solution for the problem, if there is, to solve them and to expand the cooperations. And we welcome any activity in this regard. I mean, there should be a contact, there should be a dialogue mechanism between Iran and Pakistan for many of the issues, such as the science and technology, for economically. We should have more and more events such as this webinar. Because of Corona, of course, it's not possible to exchange delegations. This is really a pity. But I think this is opportunity that, to have more meetings, even more cheaper, more easier, and it can be effective indeed by by virtual instruments, by webinars. Thank you very much for inviting me to this very great event, and I'm happy to see all the friends. Wish for all of you, for excellencies, our ambassadors in Pakistan and Iran, a successful mission, and for all the delegation which present in this webinar, have a good and fruitful negotiations and cooperations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Syed Raza Syed Aghaza, the General Director of Office of Trade Relations with Asia and Oceania. Thank you, everyone, once again for joining us for this inauguration ceremony. And we hope that we will have fruitful meetings in the weeks to come. And even after them, we'll have multiple events, and hopefully the Corona crisis will be resolved and we will be able to meet face to face. Thank you, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.